So coming to a nice, comfortable seat for yourself, whatever that posture is. We're going to be here for about 10 minutes with a breathing technique as well to follow. So just an intention setting, first of all, with a mudra. Our mudra is the Buddhi mudra, which is tapping into the water element of the mudras. So this is your fire, earth, air, space, and water. I think it's in that order. Definitely fire and definitely water are here. And I think this definitely is earth. These two I get mixed up, whether the ether and the air are next to one another. But we are going to take the tip of the thumb touching the tip of the little finger. The other three fingers are outstretched, but they are relaxed. They're not like this. Dib, dib, dob. So, Buddhi mudra. Roll the shoulders back and down. Let the elbows soften. Let the wrists relax. Closing the eyes if you wish to, or taking that soft gaze and allowing your breath to center and anchor you here to the present. So our Buddhi mudra, we're tapping into the water element. And this particular mudra, the Buddhi mudra, will help you channel your intuition, your communication of your thoughts. And it also promotes balance and fluidity, providing a little bit of more moisture into the body. So almost feel that you're bringing in moisture. And if you like here, you can actually moisten the mouth. Take a swallow as you moisten the back of the throat. Maybe lick the lips. And just wiggle the nose a little bit left and right. Stretching through the nostrils. And then breathing in and out of the nostrils. Take these moments just to let go of your day. Take these moments to let go of what is to come. And use your breath to bring your awareness into your physical presence as you sit. Comfortable. If you're not comfortable, move to a place where you can stay still and hold. And allow a sense of softness, almost release and relaxation into the body. We don't have to be rigid. Each breath out lets go just a little bit more of any tension and tightness that you may be holding on to. And as we begin our new theme for the month of utilizing the elements, not just in our practice and on the mat, but also utilizing and using and benefiting from all 5 elements in our daily life. Really tapping into what nature provides, and particularly water. Being in, around water brings us a sense of calm tranquility, because we as humans are made up of 75% water. That's why we have such a strong affinity to it. And particularly at this time of a full moon, the full moon and water go hand in hand. The moon controls the tides. And obviously, it is said that the moon controls a lot of feminine energy, feminine cycles. So it's all connected. So a lot of our practice today will be working with the front and the back bodies to work with the bladder and the kidney meridian, but also a little bit into the hips, the spine, the inner thighs. Being aware of those parts of your body now. Feel those parts of your body. Releasing the mudra softly, opening the palms up to be receptive and welcoming. If you need to move the legs or change the legs, or maybe you want to bring the opposite leg in front, please do. I'm going to introduce a breathing technique, which is Chandra Vedana, and that's single nostril breathing through the left nostril only. A couple of days ago, not a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, we were at the summer solstice, and we worked through Surya Vedana, which was your right nostril breathing only, inviting that fire, warmth, heat into the body. This is piercing the moon breath, Chandra. Chandra being moon in Sanskrit, but finding peace and calm. So bringing the two fingers up to the third eye, breathing in and out of both nostrils. We're going to close the right nostril off nice and gently, not forcing the nostril over, just resting and closing that nostril. Breathing in and out of the left only. So breathing in, channel the energy all the way up to the two fingers. And release and breathe out of the left, keeping hold of that right thumb to the right nostril. Breathing in, channeling that energy through the left channel up to the two fingers, and breathing out. So find that now steady breath, breathing in and out, equal length, just from the left. Trying to fill the entire brain, skull, lungs, and body with your breath in. Letting go, softening, releasing on the breath out. Feel relaxed and receptive. Calm as you breathe through the moon channel. Taking just a few more for yourself. Lengthening the breath as much as you can on the inhale, maybe a slight pause at the top of retention, and an exhale, deep, slow, long breath. Last breath in. Last breath out of the left nostril, releasing the hand down and breathing normally through both. Keeping the eyes closed, just release the legs. Bring them out in front of you. Give yourself a little bit of a hug, relaxing the belly, the chest, over the thighs, really allowing the head and neck to soften through the weight. And you might feel that stretch coming into the neck, into the upper back, maybe into the middle back. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Breathe out, let the head relax just a little bit more. And then slowly roll up. Let's swing the legs around into a tabletop. So just finding your tabletop position here and just taking a look down at your hands. Just notice where you've instantly placed your hands. Maybe you come to your mat and you turn the hands outwards. See if you can turn the hands inwards so that the middle finger is in line with the outer edges of your mat. And then spread the thumb into the center. Spread the fingers as wide as you can. And if the wrists are a little bit tight here, you can bring the arms forward of the shoulders so they're not directly underneath the shoulders. And then notice the wrist and the elbow. So you can turn the elbow inwards. So the eye of the elbow, this beautiful part of the elbow here, faces forward or inwards through that wrist rotation. So just do that a few times. Eye of the elbow pushes forward, and then the eye of the elbow turns in to face one another. And then notice what you're doing with your head. Lifting up through the neck, making sure the neck is nice and long. The crown of the head is reaching away. Keep pressing away through those palms, really pressing into the finger beds of the thumb, the little finger, all three of the middle fingers, pressing into the heel of the hand. And where have you left the elbow? Have you left the elbow facing the eyes or facing forward? Notice the shoulders. Are you collapsing through the shoulder blades and the scapula are pulling in together, or are you pushing away so that you're rounding the shoulders? So just protract, dropping the chest, dropping the shoulder blades together, and then push away. Lift up the abdomen. Spine is nice and long, and the knees are underneath the hips. Feet are nicely relaxed, and the toes are relaxed. Now find steady breaths as you close the eyes and you just stay in this tabletop, all fours position. Work with the posture of your front and your back body. If anything ever becomes too much, just release out of the posture, particularly the wrist here, but really pushing into the tops of the feet, into the shins, push the shins down, takes a bit of the weight off, and then widen the knees, bring the big toes together, and release the hands forward. Turn the palms face up if it's possible, and then let the head come down to a block. Those palms are receptive. As you exhale, release through the spine, the back body. Maybe you feel this already into the inner thighs or the inner groin. And then just circle the wrists or give yourself a little bit of a massage. And come back up into tabletop. This time we're going to start our rounds of cat and cow. So I want you to find your rounds of cat and cow with your breath. 10 rounds. So each round is cat and a cow. Closing the eyes and really feeling this movement of the front and the back body. Imagining that bladder meridian coming from the inside of the eye, over the top of the head, down the back body, looping itself all the way around the foot to the front body. Once you have done your 10, doesn't matter if you haven't been counting, if you've just been feeling. Last time, come up onto the fingertips, pull your body back just a little bit. You're scooping up through the belly, rounding through the chest. Chin tucks into the chest. Pressing away through the fingers. And then let's come into our child's pose to hold. Wide leg, toes come together, release the sit bones back towards the heels. You can use a bolster here. You can use a block. You can rest the body on the bolster. Reaching the hands forward and exhaling. Head comes to the mat or to the block. So we're going to hold here. Let the yin posture start to work for you. Soften through all of the joints. Try and release all tension and tightness, any gripping into the joints. Finding ways to work towards your edge. Your own personal edge in each posture might vary. Trying to be around the 5 or the 6 scale out of 10. Feeling something. And feel gravity as a weight. So almost you feel the weight at the base of your spine, right at the sacrum there. You can almost feel the skin expanding over the pelvis, over the sacrum, over the spine. As you breathe in, exhaling, soften, relax everything. Keeping the head where it is if you can, drawing the hands back behind you, back to the underneath the shoulders. The palms are right by the knees. And then just lift up the knees a little bit, bring them together. The belly will feel compressed. We're going to go into a different child's pose. The hands come back behind you, palms face up. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, release. Soften, round the shoulders, elbows, hands, relaxing on the mat. Notice here if you feel that you've compressed the belly, the chest, you're struggling to breathe. Notice what you can do to find that calm, no panic. Finding the breath once more. If you need to find more space, lift the chest and belly away from the thighs. Reach the crown of the head forward. And then exhale, melt it down once more. It'll give you a bit more space. Hopefully without the panic of the breath being compressed. And then sweeping the arms forward, placing the palms down, breathing in, coming up into tabletop. Widen the feet hip width. This is for some of you, not all of you. So I'm probably going to say to my dad to stay into tabletop. So tucking the toes, we're going to come up into a downward facing dog. So lifting up the hips and then just pedal out, release through the right and the left feet, stretching through the back of the Achilles, the calf, the back of the knee. Good. If you're keeping nice and low, you can do that by lifting up the right knee, left knee, or maybe both knees are off and you're just moving. And then coming down and releasing the feet. So coming into a swan or a pigeon, basically. Right foot comes forward and you start to open up the knee. I'm going to use a very thin block underneath my right buttock. Just finding your pigeon pose. If pigeon is really too much for you through the knee or any other posture, come into a deer pose, which is a softer variation. So that's your deer pose with a little square. And then we're going to surrender over that right thigh, really getting the belly free. Again, you lengthen and then exhale. Soften into this posture. Try to release and relax all muscle contraction into the glutes, the legs, the hips. Using that exhale breath to support you. More challenge. That right foot comes a little bit closer towards the front left elbow, but not to compromise the back left hip. You're drawing down the left hip. Pigeon, not my favorites anymore at all. I know I keep saying that. So I really do have to work with these ones. So if you find that a posture really isn't your friend, figure out why. Listen to the messages that your body tells you and use the props to support you. Slowly coming out of the posture, we're going to bring the hands back underneath the shoulders, either on the fingertips or the palms, and you're going to start to roll up through the spine. Bringing yourself up to upright, and then bringing that left leg forward, releasing off of your blocks, taking your props away, and then your right leg comes on the inside. Sitting nice and tall. This is your half butterfly or head to knee. Lifting up the arms and exhale. Relax over the left leg. You can, of course, use blocks here to support the head. So maybe you've got that block and you rest the head on your block. Soften through the forward fold here, but also soften into that right leg. Soften into the hips, back of the left hamstring. And just remind yourself what element we're working with here. We're water, we want fluidity, we want flow, we want to free the chi around the body, we want to get our bladder and kidney organs working through the meridian lines, functioning really well. So use that chi, that energy flow, front and back body. Almost imagine that flow traveling around the body.
Somehow, when you take the focus off of the actual posture itself and you just let gravity take you in it and you visualize something, it takes the mind to a completely different place. Meditation through movement. Starting to roll up through the spine, walking the hands back. Take your time, no rush. Roll up through the lower back, middle back, upper back and shoulders. Last thing to come up is the head. And then lifting that right knee up and all the way along. Give yourself a little release. Sit nice and tall, staff pose. Hands come by the hips, the elbows draw into the center. You're nice and long in the spine. We're going to come into our pigeon or swan on the other side. So again, using the blocks or the props as you need to. So left leg stays bent. If you're taking that deer pose instead, that means that the legs are separated and you have that little gap. That's it. And then you fold over the front left leg. Or if you're coming into your pigeon or swan, it's called swan in yin and pigeon in hatha. Extending the right leg back behind you and starting to roll the right hip flexor down towards the left heel. Inhaling, lengthening the spine away so that you get the belly free from the thigh and exhale down. Head may be resting on a block or a bolster here, or on the mat or on your hands. Breathing out, letting go. Guarantee that you've probably introduced some tightness and tension and gripping unconsciously. So feel where you might have started gripping. Breathe out, let go of it. Let gravity be the weight that allows you to surrender to the posture. Being up the breath to let go. Keep the focus centered on the inner body awareness and sensations, not getting distracted. Slowly lifting the head, walking the hands back underneath the shoulders, pressing yourself up as you lengthen the spine into upright. Gradually sweep the back leg around, coming off of your props, and the left foot goes on the inside thigh. Sit nice and tall. Let that left knee release, breathing in. Lengthen the spine up, and then exhale, reach long and over the leg. Using a block to support the head if you need, or a bolster. Exhaling into the fold, half butterfly. Just noticing what you're feeling on the opposite side. We want to be able to try and find balance on right and left, but we aren't symmetrical. So sometimes it's not always going to be possible. But I want you to feel that they are symmetrical. Softening, deepening the breath into the fold to release even further, head to knee. Relax the neck. Let the head be heavy. Slowly. Breathing in, walking the hands back, rolling up through the lower spine, middle, upper back, shoulders come up in line with the hips. Then the last thing to come up is the head. You're going to lift that knee in towards the center and extend the leg for a moment. Relax the legs, relax the feet. Hands come by the side of the hips, elbows pull in, rib cage knits together. You're not flaring the rib cage. Sit nice and tall in staff pose. Maybe you like to flex, point the feet, circle the ankles. And let's swing both legs around behind us. Come onto your belly in a prone position and just bring the big toes to touch, letting the heels fall out to the side. I give this cue quite often and I don't see it happening in a lot of legs. So what we're doing is we're allowing an inward rotation of the thighs and of the hip joint when you kind of turn your toes in towards one another and let your heels fall out to the side rather than holding the feet in place. So feel here that you've got that inward rotation of the thighs and an inward rotation through the hip joint. Soften through the pelvis. Let the pelvis be heavy. Relax the belly. And then just sway the hips from side to side. Taking the right leg out to the side into half frog. So just take a look. Have you brought the knee up quite high, or is it in line with your hip? And if it's too much here, you can always use a block. These thin blocks are really quite handy for that, or a blanket. So if you need to, you can always place the knee that lifts it up just a little bit. And think that we've got a 90-degree bend into the hip, a 90-degree bend into the knee, and then flexing through the ankle, you've got a 90-degree bend into the foot. And staying there for a moment, finding the posture. The left leg is long, the tops of the feet are just resting on the mat. Soften through the glutes with the right leg, right hip. And if you feel quite content and happy to stay there, you can hold this posture, or you might wish to come into your back extension with Sphinx. So the arms come out, forearms, and lifting up into a back extension in your half frog. Dropping the hips. And just notice how much you need to scoop up the belly, or if you're pushing away from the mat, or are you dropping the neck between the shoulders. So keep the neck nice and long. And the crown of the head just reaches up towards the sky. Feel the weight dropping again, that gravity through the hips, the buttocks, and the pelvis. Imagine that your pubic bone is starting to really ground. And if it's ever too much with the back extension, you can always lower down and just work with the half frog. Releasing the arms if you chose the Sphinx. Bring the head back to the hands. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, bring the right leg back. Bring those big toes to touch once more. Inward rotation of the thighs, the hips, letting the ankles fall out to the sides of your mat. Relax everything. Sway in and out of the hips, the pelvis. Left leg comes out to the side. Take a look. See if it's in line. Use the blocks and props as you need to, flexing into the foot. And making sure that right leg is nice and long. Tops of the feet are just resting into the mat. And then start feeling that gravity, softening through the glutes, the outer hip of the left leg. Staying here if that works for you. Or maybe choosing to come up into Sphinx. And the elbows don't have to be all the way underneath the shoulders. They can be a little bit forward. But you're pressing into the palms, pressing into the forearms and the elbows to keep the upper body nice and lifted. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the practice, the bladder meridian works with the front and the back body. And the kidney meridian tends to work on the inner thighs, inner groin. So you might actually feel this area at the base of the spine around the kidney area here. Try to breathe into the organs. And almost visualize yourself, just by holding this posture, that you are freeing up the chi to reach those organs for optimal function. If the Sphinx comes too much for you, you can always lower down and just work with the half frog. Widening the elbows, rolling the body down if you chose the Sphinx option, bringing the head back to the hands, breathing in. Next breath out, leg sweeps back, big toes touch, heels fall out, inward rotation of the thighs and the hip joint. Sway out as you let go of everything. Feeling all of the muscles relax. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, gently press yourself back through tabletop. Round the spine through cats, round the shoulder blades. Reach the fingertips forward, exhale, just release into child's pose. Breathing out, breathing in. Slowly rolling up through the spine, pulling the hands back towards the knees. Kneeling up nice and tall at the back of your mat. Little toe stretch, tucking the toes underneath, because the bladder meridian does go through the feet into the toes. Feel comfort. If you feel any pain, come forward, taking the weight away from the heels. Soften through the facial expression. You are doing great in these toe stretches. Releasing the hands, releasing the toes. Good work. Sweeping the legs around in front of you, caterpillar, full forward fold. So this can be with a block again to support the head, or a bolster. And, you know, if you've got these thin blocks, these are actually great as well, because they still work as just a little bit of place to rest the head. Or maybe you don't feel that you wish to use a proper tool. Give yourself that wiggle room underneath the sit bones, releasing the flesh, and then releasing the body over as you breathe out. You are drawing the belly back. You're sucking the belly back towards the lower back. The belly isn't full with air. You're breathing through the chest, deep belly breaths. Feel relaxed in the posture, calm. It's a great one to bring the awareness inwards. Breathing through both nostrils equally as the other. Sun and moon channels working together to find balance. Maybe you feel a little bit of inward rotation of the thighs and the hip joints here as you give yourself that wiggle room underneath the sit bones. Slowly start to roll up. Take as long as you can. Lift the arms up towards the sky. Give yourself a big stretch. Take hold of the left wrist. Reach over to the right. Bring center. Take hold of the right wrist. Reach over to the left. Bring center. Release the arms and take them underneath the thighs. Maybe you can hold on to the elbows here. Give yourself that little hug. And if you're at the back of your mat, just shuffling forward, having a block or a bolster handy to the left side of your mat and rolling down, drawing the knees in, feeling now the back body really releasing. Rolling out, massaging through the lower back, the waists, the middle back, the shoulder blades, and the upper back. Making sure the neck is nicely aligned so the chin is not lifting too much. You're not arching through the back of the neck and you're not tucking the chin towards the chest. And then just release the feet down. Coming into a spinal twist here. So left leg either bent or straight, and the right leg comes over onto your bolster or your block, whatever you're using to support it. You're rolling onto the left hip and then opening up the arms, shoulder height, palms face up. So soften here into this twist. Real good one for the kidney meridian. Inner and outer thighs, adductors, abductors, spine, rotation, chest is open, facing up to the sky if you can. And your head may look to your right hand, doesn't have to, can look up to the sky, close the eyes, soften into the twist. The right ankle, the right leg, the right thigh, the right hip are all soft, releasing, relaxing. You're opening up through the torso into that spinal rotation, softening through the spine, holding no tension. And the thing with twists is that we usually get that rush of blood and oxygen and nourishment when we come out of the twist. So you may feel that all of the organs are kind of compressed. So I want you to slowly lift the leg back into the center, release the legs all the way into Shavasana, and then feel that rush of nourishment go to the organs, front and back. And that chi, that flow, flows through the legs and through the spine. Let it do its thing for a few more breaths. And switching your bolster or your block over to the other side. Rolling onto your right hip, either with a bent or straight right leg. Left leg comes over onto your prop. And then you can start releasing the left arm out to the side, drawing the left shoulder down. If it's too much, bring the arm closer to the body. Opening up the chest. Choosing to take the gaze up to the sky with eyes closed or to the left palm. Making sure that that top leg is really held and supported by your prop. So that's why it's helpful if they're on a bolster, because you can have the knee and the foot supported and nothing's hanging off the end. Try to relax through the spine, through the outer hip, through the glutes. Soften through each of the muscle groups of the body. Let the joints be heavy and relaxed. Breathing deep into the abdomen. Just noticing those differences as we come into another posture that works with the right and the left sides of the body. What do you need to do to find the symmetry? And reminding ourselves that the blood, the oxygen, the nourishment will probably go to all of those organs as soon as we unravel ourselves from the twist. So start to bring that left leg back, release it all the way along the mat as you bring the body back. Find a Shavasana, breathe out, let it do its magic. You feel this rush to all of the organs, certainly into the intestines. Gently draw the knees right and left in towards the chest. Roll and massage out through the spine. We're going to come into our final relaxation of Shavasana. Maybe you like to use the bolster as it's there just underneath the knees. So you can just literally rest the knees. Make sure that you've got the knees all the way to the end of the bolster. You lift the hips, make sure that the pelvis is nice and flat underneath you. Give yourself the wiggle room of the shoulder blades. Arms come out to the side. Stretch the feet away. Flex and point and circle the ankles a little bit. And then stretch, stretch, stretch. And then relax and let the feet fall down gently. Breathing in. As you sigh out through the mouth, let go. And then find your steady breath, breathing in and out of both nostrils. The mouth is gently closed, but just take a moment to moisten the mouth, the throat, the lips. Wiggle the nose, left and right. Stretch the area underneath the nose. Screw the face up, tight, tight ball. And then breathe out and relax the face. Use the breath to keep you in the present, anchored to your Shavasana, not drifting anywhere else for the next few moments. I'll let you have this peace to yourself and let you know when it's time to come back around. And just feel what the body is doing. Feel all sensation everywhere.
Begin to deepen your breath, breathing in. Breathe out. Wiggle the fingers. Move the wrists. Wiggle the toes. Move the ankles. Drop the chin to the shoulder, just releasing the head one side. Little stretch, then bring it back into center. Roll it over to the other side. Bring back into center, lift the arms up above the head. Interlace the fingers and then reach them back behind you. Press the palms away, reaching along the floor. Stretch the toes, stretch the legs. Breathe in and out. And as you breathe out, relax the feet, relax the hands down, lift the knees gently in towards you, chest. Roll and massage out. And if you need to, push the bolster away from you so you can roll it away and then roll onto one side. Make that a comfortable side and just pause there. Feel that one palm is just connected by the side of your head. And feel how safe and comfortable you are in this embryo posture. And when we balance out the water element, we balance out the emotions of fear and worry, and we bring in courage. Taking your time, keeping your eyes closed if you can, just press yourself up. Start to bring yourself up back into that comfortable seat, whatever it was for you. Bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra at heart center. Just feel the connection of all 8 fingers, 2 thumbs together. So feel the thumbs connect. Those are your fire. Feel the little fingers connect. Those are your water. Feel the heels of the hands. Feel all of the pressure points at the base of the fingers connect. And maybe you feel inside the center of the Anjali Mudra, there might be just a small gap. And give thanks to yourself today. Thanks to your organs for all that they do. Thanks to your body for the postures that you put them into. And thanks for your breath for guiding and supporting you. And I thank you. Namaste.